Got a new gig, you guys. She's very happy. Made it through another Wednesday at the IRS. She's pumped. She's super pumped. Yep, that's right, Steve. Scotch and Mountain Dew beverages of champions. Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and we can keep this countdown clock on here. We do that. We do this. I forget. I set up all these fancy, panchy, schmancy things. Look at that. Look how sick that looks. 37 seconds of story time. There's all your lovely chat messages. Now all y'all from different sites can see different things. No, Rob, secret marketing is not an oxymoron because marketing is often quite out in the open. And, the good marketers will be like, hey, here's what I'm doing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you exactly about my product. I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm getting the message to you. I'm going to tell you why you should like my product. And then you're going to want to buy it, even though you know exactly what I'm doing. That's how good I am. That's a good marketer right there. There is some surreptitious stuff out there. True. That's right, Brian Kane. Bud Light, the official drink of Siglerfest. No, we will not be shooting Bud Light with guns anytime soon. That is beer abuse. And that's all there is to it. Let's go to Maine. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Let me turn off that party message. Welcome back to Siglerfest. I have a brand new desk, not a new shelf on the desk. Maybe I'll show you later. So it's changed the way some things are set up. So hopefully we won't have any troubles today. But if we do, we're moving on up. If we do, we do. All right, let's move this over here. Chat out of the way so I can't be distracted by all of your chatter. And I'm just going to get into it, man. This is a bit of a longer episode, probably a couple minutes longer. So I'm going to guess we'll go to about 6:35 Pacific time, 9:35 Eastern time. And then we will bring up the glorious, magnificent Ariel girl herself, and we will chat with you guys for a little bit. Here we go. Let's get into it. We got, we can't wait for the laggards anymore. You laggardsons. Here we go. First of all, hit record. Boom. There's record and teleprompter. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Steve Rickyberg. Let's get it on. Let's get started. Back off. Just take it easy. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Slay episode 18. This one is entitled Strays. Give you the story so far, and then we're going to jump right into it. In Cordis. Let's do that again, Steve. Sorry. Previously on Slay. In Cordis, Lincoln and Billy escaped their pursuers and found their way back to the terrestrial realm. Home sweet home. But when they transited to the Old Stone Church's men's room, Lincoln succumbed to his wounds and passed out. Now it is up to Billy to find a woman named Magda and get help before Lincoln bleeds out. Billy leaned his back against the men's room door. The wiener dog with the long black fur stared up at him, head low to the floor, its tail flat and straight behind it, as still as a street sign. "Hey there, guy," Billy said. If the dog barked, would someone come a-running? Running and a shooting. People got shot for accidentally knocking on the wrong door these days or pulling into the wrong driveway, and Billy was already inside the old building. He had no idea who might be here or how kindly they would take to him once he started wandering around. But he had to look, had to find someone named Magda. If he didn't, Lincoln would probably die. Which might be a good thing or a bad thing, Billy wasn't entirely sure. "Good pup," Billy said. "You just stay there and be quiet, okay? I just need to slide on past." Billy took one step down the hallway. The little dog moved like a black flash, scooting sideways, stopping dead still in front of Billy's foot, little black lip curled back to reveal little white teeth. The message was clear. Don't move, or I will get you. Delusions of grandeur. One field goal kick and the little dog would sail down the hall. Billy's eyes told him that, so why did the animal seem so damn ominous? Billy stayed still. The little black nose sniffed Billy's shoe. The tail began to wag. "Don't you move, motherfucker!" Billy looked down the hall and realized that while he knew he would never get used to someone pointing a gun at him, at this point, it really didn't surprise him all that much. Billy put his hands up. The woman held a shotgun. She wore Scooby-Doo pajamas, and her hair looked like she had just woken up. 3 parallel scars lined the left side of her face. Are you Magda? I'm with Lincoln. He's hurt. She lowered the stubby black shotgun, and when she did, Billy recognized it. It had been Joe's. Watch yourself, the woman said. I'll kill you just as soon as I look at you. Now come with me. She shoved the men's room door open. Billy followed her inside. Lincoln was on the floor, a puddle of red on the old grout-cracked white tile beneath his limp hand. Blood had soaked his bandage clean through. The dog shot in, started licking the unconscious man's face. Hold on a second, guys. Actually, I had a dog shaking her head, getting my sound effects. Here we go. Back at it. The dog shot in, started licking the man's face. She let out little, heartbreaking puppy whimpers as she did. Shit, Magda said. She rested Joe's shotgun against a urinal, moved quickly to Lincoln. Help me get him up. Billy glanced at the weapon. Lincoln had put that same barrel under Joe's jaw and pulled the trigger. Joe's brains had erupted from the top of his head like a chunky red volcano. Motherfucker, I said, help me get him up, Magda said. She'd knelt next to Lincoln, had his arm with the wounded hand over her shoulder. Didn't I tell you not to play with me? Billy knelt, got under Lincoln's other arm. He felt the man's armor beneath the long gray cloak, just as he had on the motorcycle. Together, with Magda, they got Lincoln on his feet. Help me get him to the nave, Magda said. Together, Billy and Magda carried Lincoln down the hallway. Lincoln had said this place was an old church. Billy saw it now, in the architecture and in the votive candle stand behind the same motorcycle Billy had ridden on with Lincoln. Lincoln had told the bike to go home. Apparently, the bike had obeyed. More magic craziness. Magda led them through a tall door into a big room with a vaulted ceiling. A movie played against a big screen hanging in front of a riser and a pulpit. On the screen, a very young Forrest Whitaker wore a dark blue suit. Oh, snap, Billy said. Is that Ghost Dog? Pay attention, Magda said. Now, hold him for a second. Billy did. Magda let go, ran her hands over the collar of Lincoln's cloak, mumbled some unrecognizable words. With a spark of blue energy, something snapped and the cloak fell away. Help me put him on the beer pong table, she said. As the little dog ran in circles, whining and yipping in despair, Magda led them to a long, thin, fold-up table with a few red Solo cups on the ends. More cups lay on the floor, along with other trash. Magda swept out an arm, sent the tabletop cups flying, sloshing beer all over the wall. She and Billy put Lincoln on the table. The man still wasn't moving. Blood dripped from his wounded hand. The door opened again, and a woman entered. Red hair, wide face, she looked like a middle-aged secretary. What's going on down here? I heard... Her voice trailed off when she saw Lincoln lying prone on the beer pong table. Ariella, Magda said, go to my office, get the black medical bag in the bottom right desk drawer. Bring it here. Anger flared on the woman's face. My name is Patty. You must have forgotten. She looked at Billy, taking him in at a glance. And who is this filthy homeless man who smells like urinal? Why is he... Get the bag, Magda screamed. Right fucking now. Her intensity made the red-haired woman jump. She glanced at Lincoln, then rushed out the door. Magda's hands found hidden catches in Lincoln's armor. She tossed aside his gauntlet, the forearm piece, the elbow thing, then ripped away the blood-soaked, long white sleeve of his undershirt. She removed the bandage, exposing the horrible talon wound that had punctured the hand and come out his forearm. Blood flowed. Shit, that's bad. She gently probed Lincoln's ravaged hand. He hurt anywhere else? His back, Billy said. Bounty hunter shot him. Shit. Was he walking on his own after that? Yeah, Billy said. Rode a motorcycle, fought these two bitches on Vespas. He stood on his seat while we were riding like he was like Van Damme in Hard Target or something. Man, it was bonkers. At the words hard target, Magda glanced at him with a quick, quizzical stare, then pointed to Lincoln's shoulder. Turn him on his side, she said. Slow and steady. Billy did as he was told. Magda squatted slightly, peered at a shallow, fist-sized dent in the man's gray armor. Didn't penetrate, she said. Ease him to his back again. Billy did so. Patty rushed in, her feet moving in the fast, short steps of a non-athletic person carrying 20 pounds too much. She held an old-timey leather doctor bag. Magda took it, opened it, started rummaging through the contents. Billy saw glimpses of metal in there, scalpels and scissors and such, as well as bandages, and some things that wiggled slightly as if they were alive. For hell's sake, Patty said, please don't tell me that you are Lil B. She stared at Billy with unmistakable anger. Okay, he said, I won't tell you that. Magda stood. Something writhed in her hands, something maybe a foot long, mottled and grayish pink, the color of a zombie on TV. A worm of some kind? Maybe, if that worm had come from someone's nightmare. The fuck is that? Billy asked. It's a chiropractor, Magda said. Hold him tight. You too, Patty. Billy didn't want his hands anywhere near that wiggling thing. But he's passed out. We don't got to hold him down. He won't stay that way, Magda said. Trust me on that. Patty rushed to Lincoln's feet, gripped his armored shins, leaned her stiff-armed weight on them. Let's go, little B, she said. Hold his good arm. Billy grabbed Lincoln's uninjured arm. Whatever you say, Ariella. Her lip curled in anger, and Billy had a feeling, too late, as usual, that fucking with this person might be a mistake. Magda leaned an elbow on Lincoln's other shoulder. She gripped his forearm, just above the bloody wound. Here we go. She put the end of the worm against the ravaged hole in Lincoln's hand. There was a moment where nothing happened. Then the worm convulsed, twisted and turned, forced itself into the wound, burrowing into it with such a desperate intensity that Lincoln's arm shuddered. It slid deeper, steadily vanishing from sight. With all but the tip of the mottled pink tail had slid inside, When all but the tip of the mottled pink tail had slid inside, Lincoln woke up. He woke up screaming. Billy, Patty, and Magda fought to hold him down as he thrashed. The little black dog barked madly, desperately. It was all Billy could do to hold on to Lincoln's arm. This man, he was strong, stronger than anything Billy had ever known. Lincoln suddenly stopped moving, fell limp again. He lay there on his back, He lay there on his back atop the beer pong table and started to snore. Man, that was close. Magda gently put Lincoln's hands on his chest. I'm gonna be good as new in an hour. We'll give the chiropractor 20 minutes to start morphing to flesh and bone, then we'll move Link to the couch. She sniffed, her nose wrinkling. Oh, well, which one of you smells like piss? Patty/Ariella stamped her foot. I just showered and you know it. She pointed at Billy. It's him that stinks, this man that's supposed to be dead. Oh, right, the shower works now, Magda said. Lil Peen, you mind cleaning up? You reek. I'll give you something to wear. Billy realized anew that he had pissed his pants, lain in garbage, and vomited on himself. As strange as this scene was, he wouldn't mind getting out of his ruined clothes. Yeah, I'll shower, he said. And it's Lil B with B, not Lil Peen with a P. Tomato, potato, Magda said. Ariella, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Patty, show him where the bathroom is. But first, anyone want to get baked real quick? Lincoln felt like he'd been run over by a cement mixer. Everything hurt, especially his arm, which throbbed like a blinking streetlight, signaling an endless pulse of cold pain, and his lower back was no joy either. He felt like his father looked. He felt old. Lincoln, rough day. Lincoln, Ariella said, let's make sure I clearly understand this, because, to be blunt, it's hard to understand your thinking at all. He wished she would stop talking, stop asking questions. But this is what he got for bringing a lawyer into his home. Lincoln took a swig of his fifth of Jack Daniels, rested the bottle on his belly again, atop his cloak that he was using for a blanket. He hurt, but at least the couch was comfortable. Sure, he said. Go for it. Ariella was still in her Patty McTash altar. Different face, different clothes, different hair, different eyes. Rough day. Here we go. Different face, different clothes, different hair, different eyes, yet the ever condescending expression remained the same. You was sent out to claim a bounty on one little bee and come home with his head in a rune box, she said. Yet this same little bee is very much alive and well in our living room petting your dog. Our living room. How quickly Ariella had taken over, imprinted herself on Lincoln's home. Wearing Simpson's pajamas that were too loose on him, Billy was sitting cross-legged on the floor. Dragon in his lap, the dog's long-furred black tail swishing in slow delight as the kid absently twirled his little ear. Which means we don't get the bounty, Ariella said. And instead of getting 50 grand, we now owe Bingles Bimblefoot 70 pieces of gold, 60 of silver, because you agreed to pay 10 times what that worthless excuse of a lawyer Dylan Cantrell failed to deliver for you. And we have 1 week to pay, or Bingles and his corpse removal team will come looking. Do I have that right, Lincoln? Lincoln took another, bigger swig. I mean, it sounds bad when you say it like that. He held out a hand toward Magda. Give me a hit. She took a quick inhale of her joint, handed it over. Lincoln took a heavy puff. Billy raised a hand, like he was a kid in school. How much is that in real money? Roughly 200 grand, Ariella said. But it's the uncollected 50K that's more important, because it would have covered the 10 grand we owe contractors for the basement and the bathroom. They gave me the labor for free, as a favor, but if we don't pay that materials bill ASAP, they will feel disrespected. Disrespected contractors talk. They talk about the job for which they got disrespected, that job being this church where there are now 2 people with bounties on their heads. Lincoln had 1 week to pay Bingles, but Ariella was right. The contractors were a bigger issue. He wished she had never brought them in the first place. So pay them, Lincoln said. Use your own goddamn money. I can't, Ariella said. While you were gone, Callista paid someone off somewhere. My accounts are frozen. Don't ask how she did it. I don't know. That was not good. Callista had likely grown tired of Lincoln not finishing the job and was now pursuing other avenues. The heavy flap of wings announced Shitbird's arrival. The crow flew down from the peak ceiling, did a slow circle, then landed on the couch's armrest at Lincoln's feet. "You're home! You're home! You're home!" The crow angled his head, one black eye fixing on Lincoln. "Did you give me my cheese whiz, boy?" Billy stared at the bird. Did that talking raven just quote check the Blues Brothers?" The bird hopped from one foot to the other, ruffled its black feathers. "I'm a crow piss boy! A crow piss boy!" Actually, Billy said, "your size and the shape of your tail would indicate..." Lincoln waved his good hand, cutting Billy off. "Shut up, kid. His name is Shitbird. Let him identify how he wants." Lincoln reached into one of his cloak's normal pockets, fished out a ball of bread wrapped in brown butcher paper. "Shitty, without that tactical deuce you dropped on the Flechette sisters, we wouldn't have got away. You were rock solid. I stopped by Carmelo's while I was out and I got you your favorite." One-handed, Lincoln opened the crinkly paper, revealing a fist-sized chunk of dried-out Italian bread. Shitbird exploded in a flurry of motion, wings flapping, feet hopping, big black beak opening, head twisting this way and that. "Stale bread! Stale bread! Fuck yeah! Carmelo, stale bread!" The bird snatched up the chunk of bread, flew up to the ceiling, and vanished into the shadows. "Well, I guess I have to be the grown-up here," Ariella said. "Lincoln, you need to fulfill the contract, as in right now. We need that 50 grand. Dragon growled at her, soft, low, and threatening. The dog had taken an immediate liking to the kid. Lincoln saw realization dawn on Billy's face. "Fulfill the contract? You mean you want him to cut off my head?" Magda rolled her eyes. "Jesus, you are a bitch, Ariella. My name is Patty." Lincoln sat up, grunting at the pain in his back, his arm, his everywhere. "Give it up, Ariella," he said. "Magda let it slip already. You can stop pretending." The red-haired woman silently seethed. She felt at her own neck. A shimmer, a blur, and Ariella Goldsmith was her old self again. Blonde hair with dark roots, angry blue eyes, stylish clothes, obscene turquoise necklace, and all. "I'm not going to kill him," Lincoln said. "He didn't do anything bad enough to merit it anyway. And there's something different about him." "Being different isn't enough reason to bring him home like a stray pet," Ariella said. "Him being here is going to get us killed. He has a contract on his head." Magda let out a... Magda let out a... Darn it, guys. Magda let out a held cloud of smoke. "So do you uptight twat? Is one of your alters named Karen? Because you sound like a Karen." "Yeah, the kid is a stray that Link brought home. So am I. So is Dragon. And so the fuck are you. What Link did for you is exactly what he did for Lil Peen here. So how about you shut your mouth?" It's Little B, actually." "Shut up, Magda and... Shut up, Magda and Ariella said in unison. Ariella crossed her arms, glared at everyone in turn. Lincoln looked at the four of them. 2 women, 1 kid, 1 long-haired wiener dog. Magda was right. Lincoln did bring home strays. Why? He didn't really know. But the fact remained, he had brought them all into his house. They were under his roof, and that meant they were under his protection. Just as little Sam had once been. Well, that was part of it, wasn't it? Wasn't that why Ariella was here? Lincoln was going to get Sam back. For Sam and for these 4 strays, Lincoln needed to step up. Pick another contract from the binder, he said to Ariella. She huffed. Why? So you can bring home yet another mouth to feed? This asshole had been at the church all of a couple of days, and she acted like she owned the place. Something that pays in gold, Lincoln said. I don't care how dangerous it is. I'll collect the bounty, get square with the contractors and Bingles, then I'll do another contract that pays in treasure so we can get it to Callista and keep Sam safe. Yeah, safe, while spending every moment with that monstrous snake woman, Nanny Naga. That will take too long, Ariella said. The only bounty you could collect in time for us to get that cash, she nodded toward Billy, is sitting right there. Or she could get... Or your bounty, Magda said. I'm sure that if Link delivers your head to Callista, she'll float him 10 large. And he can get that done tonight. Ariella sneered at Magda, looked at Lincoln. Then go to Cordis and see Cantrell, Ariella said. He's either still got Dmitri Vanko's head in a box, or he cashed it in and he has the money. Bitch, you dumb, Magda said. Boss Hogg, Oleus Oakbeard, the Flechette sisters, and who knows who else will attack Lincoln on sight while Little Peen's contract is open. And because your head is still on your shoulders, Callista's people might come at Link, too. He goes to Cordis and gets spotted, he's gonna fight, and he's probably toast in the condition he's in. And we don't know if Cantrell has the money or if he's even there. Magda was right. Lincoln knew it. Ariella sighed, as if finally accepting the obstacles in their way. It's so ridiculous, she said. 10 grand isn't all that much, but we can't get it in time to make sure we're safe. As long as Ariella and Billy had contracts on their heads, if word got out about the church, for whatever reason, Lincoln couldn't protect them, or Magda, or himself for that matter. He couldn't ask Magda to go to Cordis, because if she could have, she would have already volunteered. He couldn't ask Billy or Ariella to go, not with bounties hanging over them. They wouldn't last an hour. Shitbird, maybe? No. The Crow could scout and target poop in someone's eye, but he couldn't handle a financial transaction. There was only one person who could go. Lincoln stood, slowly, trying and failing to hide his groans of pain. I gotta try, he said. I'll go to Cordis, see if I can find Cantrell. If not, maybe I can borrow the money from his parents. It's 10 grand, right? Billy set Dragon gently on the floor, then stood. And that's all you need, 10 grand? No, that's not all, Ariella said. But it will buy us a few days to line up a bigger score. Why? Do you have $10,000? Maybe in the pockets of your piss-soaked pants? Billy shook his head. No, not my pants. He looked Lincoln in the eyes. At my house, in my room. I can tell you exactly where it is. At his house, where, if his real name had become known, and by now it probably had, Boss Hogg, Oakbeard, and Betty and Veronica might have someone watching, or might be watching themselves. But if Lincoln could get to it, unseen, he wouldn't have to fight anybody. 10,000, Ariella said, hope in her voice. You sure? You're not bullshitting? Billy nodded. Yeah, I'm sure. With pleading eyes, Ariella looked at Lincoln. You have to go, she said. Go now. Magda hung her head. She was the most physically capable of this simple job, but she couldn't bring herself to leave the church. And if Billy went anywhere near his neighborhood, he was fucked. All right, Lincoln said. Tell me where to go. That was episode 18 of Slay. Join us for the next episode, episode 19. Some crazy shit's going to happen. All right. That was a rough one, you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Let's see, I got to quit this. And back, Jack, do it again. All right, now I can hear myself. Here we go. Oops. Sorry, accidental shormy sound. Turn that off. Turn that off. Bring back the chat, Jack. Ariel Girl herself, come on up. If anybody was doing the drinking game, we have to drink every time I snap because I messed up a cut and I have to mark it for Steve the Iceberg Rickyberg to cut it out for the podcast. You drunk because that was a lot of snaps. A lot of snaps. Here we go. All right, ladies and gents, we've got some fun stuff coming up here for you in this here episode. Starting to get hot already. Summer's here, and this audio insulated room, it heats up fast. It heats up real fast. Okay. Oh, geez. Chat was going the whole time. Okay. Yeah, Christine, I think I'm drunk. Actually, I think that's part of the problem. Definitely.
Well, this isn't going to help.
What's wrong, babe? Oh, geez, that's not going to help one bit. Ladies and gentlemen, look who it is. Baby, wave to everybody in the camera. Thanks, hon. All right, let's switch back over here. Dude, I love the applause. I'm sorry. I know it's so simple, but it just makes me smile every time. The applause.
Yeah.
The sitcom applause for you coming on in is great.
Hi, guys.
That's a little bit.
Proof of life.
So as you can see now, this we changed the office around a little bit. So this is we're very far away now. We'll have to fix that for the next one. Scooch on up. Scooch on up. Ladies and gentlemen, Real Girl's back in the house, feeling much better, tip top. Are you tip top? Or are you still pretty fatigued?
Do I have all my sound? I think I do.
Oh no, you don't, because you don't have a damn mic. Gosh darn it. Now talk.
Now that's
there
a lot
we go.
better. Yeah, there we go.
So hey, I understand that you had the COVID recently.
I did.
Hi, and what was that all about?
That's
How do you feel now?
I feel pretty good. Just so that you guys all know, a week ago today, I tested positive for COVID. We had been hanging out with friends over the weekend, doing some wine tasting. I assume something there. I got nobody that we were with, except for me, including Scott, got sick at all, which is a blessing. But I tested positive a week ago today. I was born with bad kidneys, and I'm over 50, so I called my doctor right away, and I said, hey, I'm supposed to call, see if I get on Paxlovid. And they were like, yes, please get on Paxlovid. We don't, if you don't know, people with kidney trouble often can't survive a ventilator because it puts a lot of pressure on your kidneys. So my doctor was like, yeah, we're not messing around with that. So I got on Paxlovid that day. I started testing negative on Saturday. Stayed on Paxlovid until Monday morning. I am still currently testing negative. Today I woke up, you can hear it, with a little bit of roominess. It's also allergy season in San Diego, so who knows if that's related. But I'm in great shape. Scott took great care of me. I did almost nothing but sleep for 4 days. And I mean, like, weirdly, that was my biggest symptom, is fatigue. And to this minute, can I have one too? That's also my biggest symptom, is fatigue.
Is there not one over there for you somewhere? Okay, I'll get you one right now. You go, sweets.
And so I'm taking it easy. Today we walked the dogs for a mile together for the first, that's the first time I walked the dogs that long. Or did anything that was that comprehensive. So if you have not yet had COVID, or if you haven't had COVID recently, I would like to, I did a little bit of research and stuff. Christine, McCullough, I didn't have any. I don't remember, it was literally like a fever dream. Like, I don't remember anything for all the time I was sleeping, for like from Wednesday to sort of Saturday night, Sunday morning. And now what keeps happening is I'm fine until I hit a brick wall, and then I can't do anything. But I'm getting better. I'm doing what I can. And if you have any comorbidities, if you have any any concerns at all, and especially if you meet the criteria, which is mostly over 50 or have any kind of co-indicator like you are plush like me or whatever, talk to your doctor about Paxlovid. Kim Hansen, I absolutely have brain fog. Scott can tell you more about that. But there have been, especially since I started testing negative on Saturday, there have been a handful of times where we were watching The Mandalorian last night and having a really lovely time. And I had to ask, okay, so did that happen in this episode? There's a lot of fuzziness. And so much so that 2 days ago when we were hanging out in the evening watching TV, I wouldn't allow myself to watch The Mandalorian because I didn't want to miss anything and I knew I wouldn't remember. So.
Yeah. So we are, no spoilers in the chat room, you sons of bitches. We got one episode to go in The Mandalorian. And maybe we'll talk about my plan for Mandalorian season 4 tonight, too.
Yeah, okay. For sure.
All right, so let's see. Let's get through the basics, ladies and gentlemen.
So wait 1 second. Yep. So I will tell you that Paxlovid, I just want to say, because I've talked to a handful of friends who have been on it, if you have not yet had COVID or you've not taken Paxlovid and you get COVID again, my understanding is Paxlovid can have lots of weird side effects. It can have a weird metallic taste. I didn't have that until I tasted, what did I have that you thought were good?
Salty.
Yeah, I can only taste salty, but there was dehydrated cheese puffs. Tasted like tinfoil to me. But I still don't have my taste back. I still have a lot of fatigue, and you can hear, this wasn't here yesterday, so I'm hoping that's allergies, but Paxlovid comes with a risk of rebound infection. So I have to test every day between now and Saturday if I continue to get more symptoms. But I tested today and I'm still negative, so I'm hoping it's allergies.
Okay, so going down a little list here. May 3rd, if you happen to be in the Bay Area, San Diego area, Warwick's in downtown village of La Jolla, we are going to be talking about this book right here. The Hitherto Secret Experience of Marie Curie, and the dimensions of the screen are all messed up because I told you we moved everything around. But this great book could be there with Jonathan Mayberry, I think, and a few other people. It's stories of Marie Curie as when she was a teenager, and mine, of course, is full of violence and shotguns and blood and death and all the best things in the world.
Scott actually had a reading with Jonathan Mayberry and a handful of other folks on last Tuesday at Mysterious Galaxy. Thank goodness I attended and I stayed masked the whole time because, as you guys know, a lot of you guys know, my mom is pretty compromised. So if I'm in a crowd, I tend to do that just so that I can see her if I need to. It's a good thing I did because I tested positive the next morning. That said, I will tell you, it's a super fun book. There's lots of really creative, different types of sci-fi and fantasy genre writers that are making their take on whatever Marie did when she was a teenager. And I will also say this. If you guys know us well, you know that my favorite story that Scott has ever written is Red Man. I relate to that so much in so many ways. And it has been that way since I read it in, 2007 or something, or maybe 8. This story in this novel, or in this anthology, I mean, is neck and neck for number 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't get the connection, but hey, man.
Yeah, they're not related. It's just such a well-written, fun, cool story that has twists that I didn't see coming. So they are not at all related. They are not similar stories, but I love this one so much I've read it a dozen times.
So if you are at all interested in that book, I got to go back to books. Autographed copy is here just in case you want one and you can't make it out. As you always, these buttons at scottsigler.com. Hit the books thing, find the book you want. Ooh, 4 ratings. People don't like it. I bet you because it's people say, it's woke. What's wrong with your woke book, you goddamn sons of bitches? But it's not. It's just a book about a girl who does stuff, and that pisses some people off, man.
And like I said, there's sort of all sorts of genre writers in this. So there are writers that write fantasy that Scott would never write and never read, and they also contributed. So it's super fun in ways like that.
And if you hit the autograph button copy, like most of the books available, it takes you over to Mysterious Galaxy, our pals here in San Diego, California. Mm-hmm. You can add it to the cart, and then you can make a specific request for to be signed, and that is that. And while we're here, of course, if we have our new store cooking, if you want the very shirt I am wearing right now, we've got that over the Kraken's Double Championship tee at scottsigler.com because there's only a few days left in the Ascension Day sale where everything that we sell is how much off?
15% off.
15%. God, how do we stay in business with these prices?
We do it because we love them.
We cut it to the bare bone. The bare bone, because that's the way Grandpa from Yugoslavia did it when he came over on the boat.
And
he was a butcher. That's why.
A couple things to note. Every T-shirt we have ever sold, even though we retired a whole bunch of them back in the day, all of them are available on the website now. So if you missed your chance to get a Sheb Stalkers T-shirt because Kovacs the Red owned the Sheb Stalkers, which is me.
It's all there.
You can get that too if you want.
What shirts do we have? Every shirt. Every shirt. Yeah. It's paraphrased from The Professional. I know Rob Otto got it, but all right. So
I do want to mention two other things. We have two really.
Let me finish. I'm so sorry. Let me finish. Go back to. I forgot to mention. Yeah, this book that we're talking about. If you're in the area on May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at Warwick's in downtown Village of La Jolla, I'll be reading there. Please come and join us.
And last week we were supposed to have our good friend Phil Plait on because the day before last week's canceled episode, he published a book called Under
Alien Skies.
Alien Skies.
Which Wired magazine said will influence science fiction writing for the next decade. That's a bold claim, son.
But it's really fun. I thought I was going to get a lot of reading done in my time sick and a lot of catching up on TV shows. I had this on my bedside for 3 days, and I read the first 2 pages. That said, we also have a friend. His name is George Schwab, and this week he put out a new CD. He's a critical thinker, and it's called
let's talk about it next week.
Okay, fine.
Okay? We got to get a little prepared. We got to get through some stuff. Let's see. We have, of course, coming up, the Steve the Iceberg Ricky Berg hosts the Junkie Party.
That says
April
that
did not get updated. I updated the graphic. We'll worry about it later. But May 6th, just ignore this graphic. 5/6/23. That is a Saturday. And Steve is on from what time, babe?
He's on from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. And he does that. He's been doing this since he started this in 2020 because that gives people around the world a chance to come in and drop by and whatever. I think on the 6th, I will be probably jumping in the chat room if I stay well. So hopefully I will see you there. It's really, really fun. It's the first Saturday of every month from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. Adjust that for your own needs. And you'll get an email, text thing about it.
Yeah, you'll get a text if you are signed up for the text. Let's go back to Maine. SIG text to 855-955-5095. You get notified of all the good stuff we got coming up. And, of course, you can also sign up for the newsletter at scottsigler.com/newsletter. We got to cover that stuff every time. We're down to 15 minutes, so let's bust on through everything. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, going back to here. If you are following Slay and you are enjoying it, but there's a lot of info going on, Rob Auda has stepped in to help out a little bit with that. We have Slay, Big John Viscara moved Slay from the Secret Agent Wiki, which is the one that I and John and the other consultants use, and Rob, to track the elements of the story that we don't want to spoil for you. And now he's moved most of those pages over to Siglerpedia. So siglerpedia.scottsigler.com. We now have a bunch of info. Well, son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
You just saw it. We just saw it.
We did just see it. Let's see if I go here. What happens? Okay, well, fuck it. Well, you know what? Screw that goddamn thing. We'll talk about that next week because we got plenty to talk about. Now, let's get on to... We have secret information. We have secret information.
We do?
We have secret information. I need all of you to hold up your right hand right now. Hold up your right hand.
Me too?
Hold up. Yes, you. Hold up your goddamn right hand.
Well,
Everybody.
I'm not swearing.
Hold up your right hand. You're all going to repeat after me. That is not... Come on. Hold up your right hand. Repeat after me. Your fucking hand better be up. Repeat after me. I state your name.
A.B. Sigler.
Promise to not reveal any of the information.
Oh, for fuck yeah.
That I'm about to hear.
Okay.
What do you think I was going to make you promise your soul or some shit like that?
I mean, maybe corn dogs for a month solid.
No, that's not going to work for me. One corn dog. I promise to not reveal any of this information.
I promise not to reveal any of this information that I'm about to hear.
Or Rob Otto will lose his balls.
No, sir. I'm not willing to make that bet.
Rob, too bad. All right, so here we go.
I can't even say, okay, listen, I don't want him to lose his balls, but I don't know what you're going to say.
That's good enough for a court of law. So, real quick, we'll go over The Crypt is coming up. Shakedown is October 3rd. Now,
I will promise on Rob's balls.
You will promise Rob's balls?
Now that I know what we're talking about.
Rob, we just bet your balls and we shook on it. This is Now listen carefully. Listen carefully. We got how many? Let me see how many people we got here. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We got about 40 people on right now. If you have not already pre-ordered the Kindle version of Shakedown Book 1 of the Crypt, which is available on Amazon, do not pre-order that book just now. And I'm going to explain to you why, because here I can titillate you. Go back to books. Here we go, this gorgeous cover. It's just, everything is just smoking. The guys at Athon are great. They're starting to do their Machiavellian procedures. We have some blurbs up. We've already got blurbs from Pierce Brown, Peter Kleins, and Jonathan Mayberry. Three fucking heavyweights that have read the book and have loved it. Now, the reason I say this is here. Don't pre-order yet. Allow me to explain why. What happens is,
You guys.
I talked to Athon, and they said organic pre-orders, people stumbling across it, getting a notification from Amazon, they're like, those are fine. But, and I quote, we prefer authors to use the big guns when the book launches. So I don't know if they understand how big my guns are. You know what I'm saying? They're girthy, wide guns with a huge, huge barrel. And by all this, I mean you guys. So what you want to do is make sure, again, you are signed up for our text alerts. Please at least sign up for this so I can tell you when it's time to do the pre-order, or sign up for the newsletter, scottsligler.com/newsletter, so I can tell you when it's time to do the pre-order, because they want to jimmy the system. They want to try and go after the system and try and get us to rank. Yes, darling.
Sir.
Yes.
This seems familiar.
You know, I have a spotty memory, but it does seem familiar. It seems that we have done this before. The book called Ancestor, and as someone is putting in the chat room,
fucking GFL book ever. Which I love you guys for, but we're doing it one more time, and we're doing it with this Crypt book.
This shit ain't on our servers this time, and this shit ain't on the servers that we've hired. This is going to be fucking Amazon. So you guys are going to wind up, when Athon wants you to go, bum rush Amazon. Michael Grace, don't worry about canceling. It's fine. If you've already ordered, it's fine. But spread the word in Sigler Junkies. If you know anybody in the Facebook group Sigler Junkies, if you know anybody who's a Sigler fan who's looking forward to this book, just tell them, just hold tight. We got several months. We're going to put it up. And also, some other secret information.
Hey,
Mike. I asked, hey, I'll paraphrase. Hey guys, what the fuck about the signed hardcovers? Do we get to do that or not? I get a little bristly sometimes. And they say, I quote, correct. Push your signed books all day long. Since we are digital first, we are incredibly happy when authors make their own money with signed print sales. No issue here at all, and it won't affect rankings on the e-book side. So when the print pre-order comes available, and signed copies will be available for Mysterious Galaxy, which we just talked about, and we're more worried about the money for Mysterious Galaxy because it's an indie bookstore, and whenever I launch a book, they're always like, that paid for everything for us for a month or two. So it's wonderful that we can bring that kind of heat to a local store. So yes, we'll be able to buy signed hardcover pre-order. It won't affect this Kindle thing. And the Kindle thing, you guys, it's gonna be $5. So you buy the hardcover, you buy the audiobook, either or, both, whatever you want. Get the Kindle too. We will tell you when. That is the story. That is it.
So to distill all of that, if you haven't yet purchased the ebook, don't do that until October 3rd. That's when the book comes out. Organic pre-orders, that gives them, and the idea here is as soon as the pre-order goes up and people like us have, a vanity search on our Google that says, oh, Scott Sigler has a new book, I will pre-order right away. That happened. That's done. That's us. That's fine. If you haven't happened to order it yet, wait until October 3rd to buy it on that day, because then Athon gets more juice, which helps every other format of the book as well. And if you want a hardback personalized signed, we'll have that with Mysterious Galaxy, and that's okay. You can do that if you want to.
Yep.
Obviously, this is very much like the Ascension Day in 2007. It's different. The world is different. Amazon is different. Everything is different. Amazon is a lot smarter than they used to be, which says a lot because they were quite smart in the beginning. So if you can do this, that would be great. And we are go ahead. I was about to say that. But yeah.
In the chat room, Jason Brown asked, do audiobook sales count? What about using an Audible credit for it? Okay, we asked specifically about that. The audiobook sales on Audible will not impact Athon Books' strategy with the Kindle version. So you guys, I know some of you diehards, you buy the hardcover, put it on the shelf, you get the audiobook so that you can actually enjoy it. And of course, Ray Porter is the one who did he did Earthcore, he did Mount Fitzroy. He's fucking amazing. He loved the shit out of this book. Can't wait to hear his performance. He's super excited about it. We're probably gonna go up to LA and do some promo with him for the book.
Yeah.
So, audiobook's not a problem. Signed hardcover. These are not going to affect rankings one way or another. Athon wants to make a run at the ebook charts, so we will tell you when to do that part.
And I will say one more thing. If you are a person, we get this email at least twice a week, probably more, but all the time. We get an email, which is, what is best for you guys? How do you guys get the most ducats in your bank account? And the reality is this. The way that we survive as a two-person mom and pop shop business, where he is the factory who does all of the creation of material, is that you enjoy your experience enough that you come back again. So I know many, many, many of us, me included, most of the reading I do is audio. I generally have I have an audiobook going, I have one print book going, and then I have something nonfiction on my Kindle. That's how I read. But the thing that works the best for us is you guys continuing to enjoy your experience with Scott Sigler books. So if that means you're an audio only guy, fine, that's great. You don't have to participate in the ebook thing. Nothing like that. We want you to be happy because happy readers make us successful business.
Okay, guys, so we're going to get to it now. It's 5 questions. We're going to go. This turned out to be lightning round because the episode went longer. We don't want to hold you too long on this. We delivered the pertinent information right to your face, and now we're going to get into our questions. You ready, Sugar?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
From Sean Dyer, who is in the chat room tonight.
Okay.
Have either of you, Scott or A, ever read The Eye of Argon novella by Jim Thies? It's a story infamous for being badly written with strange word choices and misspellings abound.
No, I have not read it.
I have not read it either, but I put it here because I am willing to read it. So if I'll see maybe if he has time.
A reads a lot of books.
Yeah, I read a lot more books. So if it's not too long, I'll have him read it because I love this idea. Because I will tell you guys this: Scott has a bookshelf. We don't have a ton of bookshelves that aren't Scott's books, but we have a couple. And there's one shelf on one of our bookshelves that are Scott's most important books, and there's one shelf on a bookshelf which is my favorite books. And the difference is this. There is a book on Scott's most important bookshelf, which is the worst book he ever read. And I'm not going to tell you what it is unless he wants to, and then we'll do a thing about it. But it's there as like proof that that book got published and was terrible. And it's up there with books that he loves, like Dune, because it's the most important books to his life.
Hugely
and his
influential.
Career. Yeah.
We'll talk about it someday.
That. Yeah.
It's a pen name anyway. It's a bunch of junk. All right, next question.
Casey Wilcox says, do you think artificial intelligence and or robotics can escape from human control?
100%. Not only can it happen, it will happen. I've said this before. Now, I'm not the only one to predict this, but this is already the first presidential election cycle in which AI-generated ads and are being used. The Republicans put out an ad 2 days ago that is fully AI-generated of prospective things that could happen to America if Joe Biden gets elected again. In this election, we are going to see AI representations of Biden and whoever the Republican nominee is saying shit they didn't say, and we'll see it coming right out of their face. So this, I've been saying this for a decade, that this is going to ruin stuff even further. How we die as a species is artificial intelligence begins to control self-assembling materials. That is it for us, because we can't evolve at the rate that in silica organisms can evolve. We can't keep up with as soon as machine-like objects are able to draw nutrients from the ground. This is the Prowett. As soon as they're able to draw nutrients from the ground and build copies of themselves, it's fucking already over for us. So that's the answer to that question. Probably won't happen in the next 30 or 40 years, but 6 years from now, we're fucking gone. So party on, Wayne.
So these next 2 questions are from good friends of ours who are the goddamn dog sitter and her spouse, Amy Reed and Jim Lockett. They asked 2 questions a while back that totally fit here. 1, what was the best toy you never had as a child? Something
Millennium
that you
Falcon.
Okay.
Millennium fucking Falcon. Hey, Mom, what do you want for Christmas, Scott? I would like Legos and a Millennium Falcon toy. This is like fucking, let's see, this is like 1982. Got Legos, no Millennium Falcon. 1983, what do you want? Millennium Falcon? Nope. 94, Millennium Falcon. And then it shifted over to, I want an electric guitar. And asked for an electric guitar for like 6 years.
Did you get that?
Didn't get that either. It's not like it's not like I didn't get presents. What? A new electric guitar?
The Millennium Falcon bass.
Fuck yeah, dog. Fuck yeah, dog.
Made left-handed.
I'll
finish reading the whole question because it totally serves. Best toy you never had, something that you saw in a commercial or a friend had or you heard about but did not own and desperately still want.
Millennium Falcon and the Swedish Bikini Team. Those are the two. Those are the two I saw and I wanted, but I couldn't have them.
I will tell you, this was a little bit of a self-serving choice for me because Amy and Jim asked both of us these questions, and my answer is a Barbie dream house. But it's sort of a caveat because I wanted a Barbie dream house so bad, but my mother didn't want me to have Barbie, so I had like the Cher doll, and I had all the not Barbie dolls and whatever. But I still wanted a Barbie dream house. My mom did not believe that was realistic and I should have one. So my brother and I had these. We still have them. I still have mine. It's in the next room. Like tiny little baby chairs, like toddler chairs that are just wooden chairs that we've had our whole lives. And my brother one day put his chair kind of topsy-turvy on my chair and built sort of a townhouse. And I remember it to this day as one of my favorite things ever because it was my Cher doll dream house. I had a Cher doll. My mom was totally good with Cher. And so I never got the Barbie dream house, but I don't feel like I missed out my whole life because my brother made me my own.
Next question.
All right. Also from the Reed Lockets, tell us a story about a time you got physically lost. And she makes a note for me that says Ira Ann does not count.
Time I got physically lost? Mm-hmm. Fucking Ancestor. Researching Ancestor, I decided I was going to go snowmobiling in the Keweenaw Peninsula in the UP, which is the northernmost part of the UP, and flew into Houghton Hancock Airport, where you can rent a snowmobile at the fucking airport. Not making this shit up. You get off the plane, car or tram takes you to,
Is Houghton Hancock in the U.S. or in Canada?
Houghton Hancock is U.S.
Okay.
Houghton, Michigan, Hancock, Michigan, an airport called Houghton Hancock. And I rented a snowmobile, and at the snowmobile counter, because, I'm like, I'm fucking Jack London. I'm Hemingway. I'm a young Hemingway. I'm going to go adventuring. He did the Spanish Revolution. I do snowmobiling in the Keweenaw Peninsula because I'm not so much for people shooting at me. So I go and I rent the snowmobile. And I asked Leah, it's like, this is where I want to go. What's the best way to go? And she goes, oh, would you like to go on the trail that everybody takes, or would you like to take, the other path, the new path? And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm a road less traveled motherfucker. I'll take the new path because I'm boss. I am all about that shit. Let's go. Little did I know that the new path meant a decommissioned logging trail that no one ever went on and wasn't marked except for these pink ribbons that were tied on tree branches that were probably 10 years old. So they were closer to white ribbons hanging on trees in winter with snow on the trees. And that was the only way to see the path you're supposed to go on. And I immediately got lost. And I had an 80-pound backpack. I know I measured it because I'm a nerd. Because I had all the stuff I needed for a week, including my computer. 80-pound backpack on my back, and found out when you're going down in a snowmobile, going down road divots that are about 6 to 7 feet high, and like this, and I don't know how the truckers did it because this was a terrible run on a snowmobile. And you're coming down, boom and boom, just constantly smashing back. I get lost. I got so lost in the Upper Peninsula, the Keweenaw Peninsula, in the UP of Michigan, that night started to fall, and I was no longer able to tack toward or use the sun as a guide. And I'm like, when that sun sets, I am fucked. I have to build a lean-to and a fire because it will be at least 30 below tonight. So the sun is starting to set, and I'm like, and I'm not lying. I'm starting to panic.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, shut up. I'm starting to panic.
She's nervous too.
So I decide I'm going to turn around the trail. I make a panic move, a dumb move. I'm moving mostly north. Eventually, I'm going to hit a shore somewhere. I make an amateur move, I turn around, and as I turn around and come off of this road that's got like 3 feet of snow on it, found out that the sides of the road, this raised road, I didn't know it was a raised road, went off the side of the road, and the snowmobile went 7 feet down into snow, so deep that I had to stand on the snowmobile seat to look out over the snow, crawled my way out of the snowbank, and I'm like, I'm in a lot of trouble here. So I start digging it out, and like the sun's setting. I'm like, this isn't, I'm like, and now keep in mind, at this point, I have not seen a human being, a light pole, a house in 2 hours. This is some in the middle of fucking nowhere shit. And as I'm there, and I'm like getting ready to got my survival knife, I'm ready to cut down tree boughs and make a lean-to and start a fire, because it's matches and survival knife. It's matches. It's gonna be fine.
It's called a survival knife.
It's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be fine.
This local comes coming along, and I wait. Hey, help! Like, it's not like it's a fucking plane that's gonna, like, I need a flare. He's like, here's the road and here's me, and I'm like, stop! Oh my god! He stops and he goes, looks like you got yourself in a pickle there, eh? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so he first of all, he helps me get the snowmobile out of the 7-foot trench, because you know how to do that if you're from the UP. It's no big deal. And then he's like, and I explained to him, I'm fucking lost. And he's like, you got about 15 more minutes on this trail there, and you're going to come to the lodge right there. So I was only 15 minutes away from the place I needed to get to, and I was about to turn around. I was going to freeze to death 15 minutes from that. So that's the story of how I got lost. And I won't even tell you about the part how I ran over my own computer with the snowmobile. That's another story. Next question.
So since that was a question for both of us, I will just add that Scott often talks about how he's a small town dirty butt kid who married a city girl.
Mm-hmm.
I have no stories like that. I have been lost. Like first time I ever went, the one time I ever went to Budapest, I got lost because I didn't speak the language and I couldn't translate because I didn't have a smartphone yet. But I don't have anything.
So I'm a
like
small
that.
town kid. I bet you got a story like this, right? I've watched movies. I know what New York's all about, right? So at some point, you dressed up in like a matching, baseball outfit or cowboy outfit, and you put 3 bottles on your fingers, and you went out fight. Warriors!
But that's not lost.
Come out to play! That's you all do that, right? That's how New York works.
A warrior.
You were in
And two,
switchblade fights and shit.
We still weren't lost.
Okay, but you did do switchblade fights.
No, also no.
Okay, that was only in Brooklyn then.
That was just my brother.
That was your brother. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Let's finish up these questions.
All right, I think we just. Oh Lord, I don't want you to see him ahead of time.
I fucking love that movie, dude. I love it. Oh, good.
So Dorothy Miller says, "How many unpublished and half-finished books do you think you have?" Fuck you, Dorothy
0.
Miller.
I think I have no. Okay, I've got.
Oh.
No, wait. I say 0 because we have gone through. We don't. Our trunk is bare. It's called a trunk for writers. Trunk is where you put your unfinished books, your unsold books, the books you've abandoned because you can't get them published. We fucking publish everything I've got. So I think I've got one called. No, I can't remember the name of it. I've got one I started writing when I was in my 20s, and it's called Twisted, and it is a completely fucked up book, and I have not done that. I think that's gone. I've got a couple others. I can't tell you the name because the name kind of sells the whole book.
Sure.
So I've probably got one half-finished book. I've got 2 or 3 things I have started and then had to put down to go do something that actually paid money. So not many.
Yeah, so if I kind of tried to answer this on my own, and I didn't know about Twisted until just now. So I will say there's
I've not
at
shared it
least
because
one story.
I'm not proud of Twisted,
There's-
although the plot's great.
Actually, there's 2 stories that have meat to them, have chapters, not a bunch of chapters, maybe less than 10. But 2 stories. One that he wrote only on his phone when he was walking the dogs once he moved to San Diego.
The band. Yeah,
And
the
the other
band's not
one?
finished. Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you the 2. No, that's you guys can find Happy Company. It's on the fuck is that site?
Scribbled?
No, it's not Scribd. There's a site where all the kids were writing books and all the people were reading them, and a couple people.
Wattpad.
Wattpad. There's a story of mine out on Wattpad. You can find it called Happy Company.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't finish that. Probably will never get back to it. So I have so much stuff that I want to get to.
But
then the band the band's awesome. I just don't know how I could finish it.
Yeah, so there's a story called The Band, and I will tell you a very little bit about it. It is about a band that has some sort of ethereal, spooky qualities to it, or ethereal, not normal in this universe qualities to it. And that's all I'll say.
It's the
about
best.
that.
It's the best story open I've ever written, by hands down, nonstop. No.
And there's probably 10 chapters of that, and there probably needs to be 65 or 75 chapters of that to make it a whole story. And that, I do think, unlike Happy Company, which I don't think you'll ever go back to because it was an experiment.
Yeah, I'd like to write the band.
I think may get fleshed out eventually because it's a kind of a cool story, and and without saying more than is necessary, I will say it's sort of in the same vein as Slay. Like it's wild and raucous and fun and a little bit weird.
It's supernatural. So I've started in the past. I started several supernatural books, and they just didn't appeal to me because I was very much early in my career all about this. All needs to be applicable real science. This needs to be Googleable. People need to be able to look this up and go, holy shit, that's a real thing. So that's infected, contagious, earth core, all that. All the shit in those books is effectively based on reality or real. I just take it to another level. So I walked away from all the supernatural stuff. The band has some definite supernatural shit. When I think about it now, it's a lot like Richard Kadri's work. So if you're familiar with Richard Kadri and the Sandman Slim stories, it's sort of in that ballpark. Maybe we'll read it someday. But the open's fucking outstanding.
Yeah, but those are the ones that I could think of that are not just story ideas. Now, Rob Otto in the chat room on Facebook said if we're talking about story ideas in his head, it's a trillion.
It's a lot.
So I was actually looking at unfinished stories, not just outlines, not just story threads, but actual chapters that have not been finished or published, and I can think of only those two. So we are a little bit late, but I'll ask you the fifth question if you want. The fifth question then is from Aaron Cohen. What do you owe the real people upon whom you have based characters?
What do I owe them? Mm-hmm. Fucking not a goddamn thing. They fucking owe me. Listen, if I immortalize you in a goddamn book, buy me a scotch, buy me a Bud Light, buy me a Christmas present. Make it something nice. Because you know what? Who the fuck else put you in a book? Except the kid right here.
Except I will say this. So that is his answer. I will say as his business partner and objective observer, and I'm going to use Mr. Biznaz as an example, that Mr. Biznaz is a character in Nocturnal, if you haven't read Nocturnal, and he's a character. He has a voice box because he has had some sort of cancer or something, and he also has Tourette's syndrome. And that character is based on an actual experience that Scott had in a bar in San Francisco, where he met a gentleman who had both of those things going on. Now, was that human being the character of Biznaz? No. I don't think you didn't find out enough to know that he was a fortune teller or a gypsy.
I'm not allowed to share any details of the origin of
But that those
Mr.
two
Biznaz.
things were true. I think the thing that Scott holds important to himself, whether or not he's going to sass me right now about it and be swaggery, is he wants to present them as who they are, not apologetically who they are, not making them heroic because they have a disability. They're just the people that he's met. And that is super important to Scott. And he does that with everybody. And I'll say this, and then I know we're over time. We get a ton of email to this day about the first chapter of Contagious. And one beautiful thing about the first chapter of Contagious is, if you don't know, there is a submarine captain, spoiler alert, submarine captain, who doesn't live through the day. And as she realizes that she's not going to live through the day, she regrets a whole bunch of things that she will never get to do. She will never get to hang out with her wife again. She will never get to be in the sun on the beach again, things like that. And the number of people who write and say, thank God that you just normalize that there's a woman who could be married to a woman, pretty much equally matches the number of emails we get where people are like, okay, I see you're showing your agenda and everything. Okay, I understand she's in the military and she's married to a woman. And it's been going on since 2009. It never ends. And so I think the thing that you actually owe and do for your characters that are based on real people is you treat them like the people they are. You don't heroicize them. You don't idolize them. You don't forgive them for their disability.
I don't write a book where the marketing is, this is a very special, important book because the main character is gay. I'm just like, just fucking this guy's gay. Who gives a shit? That's basically how I normalize everything. A couple great things in the chat room, and we'll go. Danny Lundy in the chat room points out when I said, fucking buy me a drink, get me a fucking present, and something else I said. Lundy's like, I have done all three because he is Danny the Dolphin fucking Lundy. And you know what? Pay attention to Danny Lundy because he will show you how to succeed in life. So anybody who wants to aspire to be a singular book, fucking DM Danny Lundy. He'll totally take care of it.
And not only that, Gary Lindros makes a very good point. He says living through one of Scott's books is much harder than
much
dying
harder.
in one of Scott's books.
Nelson says, do you reply to the haters if at all? We'll say this real quick. I used to a lot. I used to be a much angrier young man until I met this woman right here, who was frankly calmed me the fuck down and taught me how to actually enjoy this ridiculous fucking life I have. So I would get super pissed because people would write shit like this and like, oh, I see your agenda. You're trying to push the LGBT in the military. I'm like, it's first of all, they're right now. It's legal right now. Don't ask, don't tell. There are fucking people who are married or getting the military. And I would write back and just like, let's get into it. You want to fucking go? I'm a wordsmith. Let's go. You know what that does? Changes not a goddamn thing. It doesn't change anybody. And all it does is it flings shit around, which is our entire political discourse right now. And people who are outraged to make money dominate the entire landscape. So I just sort of opted out of that and stopped reacting to people who are either perpetually angry, looking for something to fight about, or are looking for attention to build their own social media brand. I dropped out. Every now and then, I will write back to people on Reddit and other places. Like the most recent one was somebody wrote about alien phalanx, and like, oh, I see your American Indian agenda trying to talk about native life and all this other stuff, and I'm like, you clearly, and I'm like, no, dude, that's a Mesopotamian. This is a Mesopotamian culture. Look it up. So you are incorrect saying what you know I did, and of course, even that turned into a giant shitstorm. And I was trying to be nice and patient through the whole thing and answer the questions. Didn't work out. So the tiniest thing I will do is say like, that you bought the book, you're entitled to things you want. This is what the author actually thinks. Do with it what you will. Go on about your business. And then if anybody gives me like a 1-star and puts it on Twitter or some shit like that, I will, or they flame me on Reddit because they just hate it infected, which happens. I'll write back. I'm like, all I do now is like, hey man, thanks for giving me a shot. Thanks for giving my work a shot. Sorry that didn't work out for you. Hopefully I get a chance to entertain you sometime in the future. And then I peace out. I ghost out. Because I'd rather be home drinking scotch with my wife than be in a computer arguing with some asshole. There you go. There's your answer, Nelson.
So we are way over time, but I will say this. This weekend, we were supposed to hang out with dear friends of ours, some are who are in this chat room.
Yep. Hope you guys feel better, man.
And I got sick, and then other people got sick. So I know we always are science forward on this podcast, but I have to say, and I want you guys to hear me, there is a new variant that is gaining ground. It was very, very big in India, like very, very widespread in India, and now it's coming here. I assume that in the last week, I know 5 people who have never been infected, including myself, who got COVID, that this is maybe the Arctic, I think it's called Arcticus, is the new variant that's sort of coming to hit us in the summer. Good news, the illness is not terribly deep. The bad news is it's hyper super infectious. It's very easy to catch. So if you guys are people who stopped masking because it seemed fine, like be a little cautious if you're in big crowds, because we have been looking, I think all of the people who were supposed to hang out with us this weekend. 5 people were supposed to come hang out this weekend, and 4 are down with 4. That's almost 62%. Yeah, and then there's me, right? So there were supposed to be 7 of us who were supposed to hang out and have a very fun, cool weekend. And
thank you, Nelson. Miss you.
Because we're the right, we have the right mindset. We're not doing any of that because we don't infect anybody else and all that jazz. So just be cautious. I know we've gotten a while of grace, but this seems pretty infectious. And so just be on the lookout. If you're in a big crowd or whatever, maybe mask up. If you're going to be like at the train station.
And, when in doubt, emulate Danny Lundy. He has everything fucking figured out. He says he doesn't engage the trolls. Danny Lundy needs to start a cult. Danny, start a cult. I'll be a guest presenter because earmuffs.
I'm wearing headphones. He's turning off my headphones. He's muting my headphones, bitches. Guys,
I am totally going to fucking start a cult.
He's not.
Shh. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe there's a problem with your headphones. Turn those out. Oh, I don't know what happened. Technical difficulties. All right, here we go. Are we out? We're out. Let's go. All right,
So
let's go through our
next
pattern.
weekend. Or next Wednesday. I mean.
We will be back on May. Oh wait, we're gone next Wednesday. Fuck! I was supposed to say that earlier today.
He did say on May 3rd he's doing an event at San Diego's Warwick Bookstore, which means we won't have a Sigler in place because he's at Warwick Bookstore. So we won't be here next week. You guys will be on your own. Maybe I'll see if he does a 2 pups, 1 cup one day or something. But other than that, we'll be back on May 10th.
I can do it. I can do 2 pups, 1 cup. So yeah, we'll be back on May 10th for Slay Part 19. And I will tell you that thanks to the influence of Mr. Robert Otto, Slay 19 is going to influence the other 5 seasons of Slay that we have planned out. Mm-hmm. And you won't know it when you hear it, but 2 years from now, you'll be like, motherfucker, it was Slay episode. That son of a bitch. So there you go. So until then, I want you to stay smart.
We absolutely need you to stay science. Look up Arcticus.
And look up Arcticus's skirt. Either way. And for the love of science, we want you to stay informed. And you know what? You guys who hung out all this time, 20 minutes late because you're fucking pimp. We want you all to kiss off into the sky. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And until then, hey!